Excited to be, starting spring ball here this weekend. So I'll just kind of recap what the guys have done. Had a great winter in the way they've been working. Always is a good gauge by how Jerry Schmidt feels and his staff, and they've been excited about the way the guys have worked, the commitment, the attitude, and the strength and speed gains that we've made. So we'll get a chance to see that out on the field here this weekend. We start Saturday. We'll go both Saturday and Sunday with helmets only and shoes. That's how we'll start down at the rugby fields. And anxious really to see our guys play. It's always an exciting time of year when younger guys, new guys, when guys move on. There's always some guys that have made a jump through the year that'll be anxious for their time on the field. Now we get a chance to evaluate them as they try and earn positions on the field. But we're all about in the spring really developing depth, developing every player. 1, 2, 3, whatever position they may be, and getting them ready to play. So as you get into the fall, you have more players that are in a position to play at a winning level. That's what we're after, and excited to get that started here this Saturday. Some guys that through injury won't be able to go. For instance, Alex Dalton, Samaje P. Ryan, those guys will just be doing conditioning and limited stuff just because of their injuries. Also, Jordan Evans can do some individual work and do, say, Pascal. We will not put him into contact, though. Stan Von Taylor, same thing, just had to have ankle surgery there after the season, but he'll be full go. All of them will be full go by the time spring ends and summer begins, so they'll be able to train and be prepared for the season. Outside of that, everyone always wonders what are positions where you lose guys or where you really have to concentrate in the spring where guys have graduated and or moved on. You've got to bring other guys in those positions and get them ready to play. But as I said earlier, we do our best to have 2 huddles or to have 2 practices going at the same time, meaning we'll have 1s versus 1s in the team session while 2s versus 2s are in the team session to increase the number of snaps as long as we're able to stay healthy. So we'll get a lot of work. Everybody will. So that we're developing as many players and having them on the field as much as we're able to do. So outside of that, I guess open it up for questions.
Bob, is there any position where that's going to be a stretch to be able to do that on the 2? Is like linebacker maybe? Or?
The one limited a little bit, running back and or linebacker, that we'll have to watch that. But right now we're sitting here with 13 backers that are practicing, so we should be good. All positions get a little stretched when you do that. So, but we should be, good to go.
How do you handle the quarterback, Baker's work, or do you get more work to say Austin Kendall since he may be your backup next year? How do you
if we have 2 huddles going, they're both getting the same number of snaps.
After the season,
so we won't, we'll get them both snaps.
After the season Baker had last year, what would you like to see him improve this spring?
Well, he's already improved his body. I was teasing him just the other day that, man, I said, Baker, you've changed your body. He said, yeah, he's leaned up and, just gained strength and quickness, but I think has eliminated some body fat is the way to say it, but is stronger and hasn't lost weight. So anyway, I think everybody needs to improve. Baker will, he'll work on, just running the offense and executing it, as well as he can.
Kyler Murray, he can't play next year, but in the spring he gets all varsity. I mean, he just works with the varsity and that
Sure.
kind of thing. No scout team and stuff like that.
We don't have scout teams, spring and or through summer sessions until about the first week of, before our first game. So.
Bob, can you just take us through the process of hiring Calvin Thibodeau and bringing him back. To
Yeah,
coach defensive
I guess
line?
I should have mentioned that. Yeah, Calvin, we're excited about. He's had great experience coming up now through the ranks over a good number of years. He's not a young guy anymore. He's kind of a middle guy now, to middle young, but not old like me. So anyway, but Calvin's done a great job everywhere he's been. Everybody, really raves about his commitment, how he teaches, all of that. I know him as a hard worker, a competitive guy, so I know that side of him. And I believe he's going to do a great job with us here in a few days. He already has. Really is picking things up quickly and relating with the players well. So, we're excited about Calvin and hopefully, too, be a guy that'll be here for a long time.
You've had a lot of coaches over the years that have played here. Is there some intangible that guys like that bring to working at this place?
I don't know that there is, and I don't know that's not why I hire a guy. In the end, Calvin was highly sought after by other schools as well, and if so again, I love his experience. I love the way he teaches. We had him in here on the board with everybody, and teaching technique with everyone was very impressive. And sure, then there's the added part for me. If he is the right fit, you do feel confident. Here's a guy that will want to be here for a long time. That's a positive part, but that isn't why I would hire somebody.
Going back to when he was a player here, did you ever think he'd get into coaching? Did you see this maybe in his future? Because he's a really good player. Yeah. Calvin was a very bright, smart player, and you could tell always had a passion for the game. And usually those are the kind of guys that, make for good coaches.
Bob, have you ever thought about taking your spring practice to another state, another part?
I haven't, but not a bad idea. So I haven't. That hasn't come up.
You decide also in the last several years you take spring break off, or you give your kids spring break off. Is that something you think about every year? Should we go through spring break, or No,
I've never thought about that. I'm all for, especially in today's climate, players' time is a big topic right now. So I don't know much more of eating up their time than taking their spring break. So I haven't thought about it.
When guys come in like Kendall, these early enrollees, can you see something in them, even because they've only been in a couple months, to say maybe in the fall I could help you, or is that just, what can you see in spring?
I think you could tell a lot just how they go through their winter, how they're able to handle the volume of lifting and running is really it's a high level, and for them to be able to come in and handle it and keep up with the other guys, you could tell their physical ability is there, and Austin's handled it really well. He's he's sneaky, quick, and fast. He's a really good athlete.
Bob, are you looking at any position changes, offense or defense? This spring?
No, I think I told you the one already, right? Dwayne Orso is doing a really good job there at tackle and working around with those guys. I'm trying to think. I don't believe there's any other ones. There's a lot of guys to think about, but
Yeah.
no.
Would Stan want to try anything on the offensive side if he'd been healthy this spring?
I don't believe so. That hasn't been something we've talked about, but Stan does a good job. I feel bad for him. This would have been a great time for him to really be out there in the spring, but he's a great effort guy, special teams, which means we know what kind of, how hard he plays, that he'll get every opportunity still when he gets back in the summer to get more time out there.
Rodney got a taste of playing time last year. How's his health, and how big is this spring going to be for him?
Yeah, Rodney looks great. We've limited the conditioning stuff, meaning the stations we do, just because of all the change of direction, but he's been very good with everything else, with all the the rehab and the running, and looks back to normal. So hopefully he can have a big spring.
Bob, how will Steve Spurrier Jr. be involved with?
Yeah, Steve, I just announced that. That just became official an hour or two ago. he will. Bobby Jack is going to resign kind of mid-April, and he is going to take over director of high school recruiting / offensive quality control as well. Well, he'll be part of the offensive quality control.
You excited to be able to bring him back?
Absolutely. Steve has great experience. Was part of our original staff here for the first 3 years and helped us win a national championship and really get things started here. So he knows what we've based the program on, but also has great experience through the years in a lot of different areas. And so I'm very excited to have him, another set of eyes that can help us, and a great job relating to people, recruiting, and so he'll do a great job representing us with recruits here as well.
Will he be able to work with the receivers at all? I know he's
No, not on the field.
When you've had guys like Charles Tapper and Eric Stryker come here and have success, how does that help you when you try to go back into those areas a little bit and recruit?
Oh, it helps. Those people out there are very aware of the success Eric Stryker had and Charles Tapper, and evidenced by look at the number of guys we have from out east, that are even coming in this coming class. So also, Will Johnson came on and did a great job for us a year ago, and hopefully we'll even have a stronger role this year. So anyway, it helps you recruit. Players recruit players, and they see those guys having success, or they speak to them and talk to them when they're on recruiting visits, and all of a sudden, they realize, hey, I got a chance to come out here and do the same thing.
Bob, did you get any feedback from the combine from those guys?
I saw a few of them. The combine, I saw Tap. He was really pleased that he felt like he did a really strong job. The only other one I heard, I heard that Sterling really lit it up. Is what Coach Schmidt, who pays attention to it more than anybody. So I haven't been able to catch up with all of them. I'm sure I will, this coming week with Pro Day and find out, where they all are.
I don't know if Schmidt told you about Devontae Bond's numbers. He was pretty in the top 10 in almost every category.
That's not surprising to us.
You guys see that every day.
Yeah.
Is he a guy maybe we haven't talked about as having pro potential?
Oh, no doubt. Devontae definitely is a guy that has for an outside backer rush, and then can rush for you on third downs. He's everything you want. Very physical, talented, bright guy. So definitely he's a guy that may have been a little bit more. But we've talked about him a lot on what a quality player is, and and he had an impact here for us.
Well, you have 3 offensive linemen that enrolled early.
I think, too, he had an ankle injury, both years that kept him out a few games, so sometimes then the recognition falls off. And I'm sorry, James.
Okay. You've had 3 offensive linemen that enrolled early. You've told us before it's a different time. Guys come in more physical. 2 of those guys are JUCOs, though. Are they ahead of the game a little bit?
Yeah, I think Ashton Julius really in 2 months has really done a great job of even – improving his body and dropping body fat, gaining muscle, and moving around, better and better. So we really like what he's done. And Ben Powers, same thing, is, came in really in good shape and has continued to move around, really well. So those guys definitely are doing a good job.
You got some open receiver spots. How much of an inroad can these guys make this spring?
Yeah, I think they'll make a big jump. First, I think, Mark Andrews obviously will have a bigger role, which, we were trying to continue to give him a bigger role even a year ago. But on top of that, you get guys like Jeffrey Mead has had a huge winter. He's really shown up. I think Micaiah Quick, same thing, has a chance to really, make a big jump. Jordan Smallwood, a guy that a year ago, going into the last week of spring, we were as pleased with him as anybody we had outside of maybe Sterling that excited about, and he, tore his ACL, and so now he's been back to full strength and looks good. Geno Lewis, a guy comes in, that's a senior from transferring in from Penn State that's played competitively and played well at this level, and watching him out there run around and, do the drills we're doing is very strong, powerful guy. And listening to the players, talking to the quarterbacks, catches the ball really, really well. So I think we'll be in good shape. They'll be, and that's not even talking about, A.D. Miller, Dahu Green, Dallas Todd. A lot of these guys are going to, I believe, are in a position to really make a jump this year.
Who are the main guys that you'll look at this spring trying to replace Zach out at corner?
Definitely, P.J. Mbanassor, Will Johnson, when he's not playing nickel, has been a corner, so he'll get more of an opportunity. And Dakota Austin, all those guys, I believe, will be better than they were a year ago. That usually happens. I remember J.T., everybody was suspect on him as a freshman, and then look at the jump he made in his second year. And I think P.J.'s a guy that, for instance, that could very similarly do the same thing. He has that kind of ability. But all those guys will compete for it. Stan Vaughn, when he's back, will. And but those are we like them. They're good players.
Are guys like Ricky DeBerry and Arthur McGinnis ready?
Yeah, this is that usually happens, in their second year. So I feel we're anxious to see them out there. But definitely they're guys they'll have more opportunity. Tay Evans also, I think, is a guy that's really in position to make a big jump, really a big physical guy. So all those guys, we'll, have them step up, and Obo as well, hopefully can be responsible and have a bigger role as well.
With your outside, inside linebackers now, are your inside guys more interchangeable maybe than they have been in the past? Or, you still have a Will and a Mike?
No, we'll still work on Will and Mike, but generally, Jordan Evans has worked in practice at both of them, for 2 years. When whether it's Dom or whoever might be hurt, we'll put him at Will for the week, and he handles it just great. So, to me, they should know, Will and Mike, but.
It's like Tay and Curtis, they'll both kind of vie for that.
Yeah, Tay will primarily work at Will, but we'll see between the two of them who can handle. Once in a while, go in at Mike and see how he handles it, mentally.
Will Bolton get some looks at outside backer too?
Curtis, right now, no, we're just looking at him inside, but we'll see as we get into that with all of them, inside and outside.
With Samaje limited this spring, is this a real opportunity for Joe to carry the load and take a step forward?
Well, I don't know that anyone in the spring, we've seen enough of Joe that we don't feel that he needs to carry a load. I think more than anything we want to develop who's behind him, who's going to be in the 3 and 4 spots that we can go in there and play for you and play well, take care of the football, know their blitz pickup, know where they're going on their route running, So again, there's, usually when a guy's played a lot. But Joe needs to keep improving. He hasn't played much. So, he'll get his share of snaps, so I guess in a way, yeah.
Are you interested to see how Dalton Wood responds after 12, 14 months away from the game?
Yeah, Dalton sprained an ankle, had a little bit of a back injury in the last couple of weeks that set him back a little bit, but he's been awesome. He's done a great job, in the weight room ahead of that and running and doing things and looks good physically. So, we're anxious to see him out there.
Has Gino built up any type of chemistry with Baker at all? Are they, meeting out there?
I'm not out there in that part of their drills to see that, but those guys all really like him. He's fit in really well, and everybody's been impressed with what he's able to do, just according to the players, quarterbacks and other receivers.
Fair or not, people are going to bring up Justin Brown a couple of years ago who came from Penn State. What's Gino like? What kind of receiver does he remind you of?
Justin's a little bit taller, but I think he'll have a chance to make a similar impact. Justin was a great, fit for us and worked out really well, I believe, for him and us. But feel like Gino has the same kind of, capability in having an impact. And you get a guy that's competed at that level and been on the field and has done it successfully and won. I believe he'll have a similar transition here.
Bob, is it getting to the point where these senior transfers, every coach is kind of looking around every January or so just to see who's?
You almost, and we haven't done this, but you almost want to have somebody that solely is researching that, and I imagine some schools do. And that, I don't believe that's what the rule was intended for, but that's what it's sort of come to. But so no, there's definitely a case to always be paying attention at who's looking to do something that way.
Well, is it the way that just kind of instantly solve a death or any kind of issue just for 1 year?
Sure, it can. You get the right guy, it can definitely help.
Does the player generally contact the school, or does the school know about the player and inquire about him?
No, generally it's the player contacting the school. At least that's how it's worked for us. Or a high school coach, hey, so-and-so used to play for me, is here and is looking for a place to go. It's usually how it's worked.
Well, the uniform craze doesn't seem to be slowing down any. You guys looking at any further stuff with the uniform?
Not much. I don't see us going wholesale like a lot of schools. It's again, I think we're always careful. Just our brand is pretty recognizable and has one of the stronger traditions in college football that we're not much to change that.
Well, I know you obviously can't talk about specific
I
guys,
guess
but
to change it very often is what I'm sorry.
It's all right. I know you can't talk about specific guys, but your 2017 recruiting class seems to be off to a really good start. Your new coaches, have they really kind of dug in, and is that the result of them being here a year?
Oh, I think you're giving just the new coaches too much credit. And what about everybody? No one, they're not the only ones recruiting. I mean, everybody's recruiting. So, and everybody helps one another. I think that's the other misnomer, that it's just one guy. Everybody attaches, that's his recruiter. We're recruiting as a team. Offense, defense, me, coordinators, position coaches, and we don't even want one position coach talking to them. We'll have others that'll DM them or, visit with them as well. So, anyway, it's a big collaboration, really.
Has it always been that way with your staffs?
Well, again, I think, yes, it's always been everybody helping one another. Is it because of the way the year went a year ago, and on top of, getting in touch with them? There's always a lot of reasons. You could speculate all you want, but I think it's all of it. I think it's success we've had, and I think it's also just reaching more of them. Or maybe, too, you get the right ones that are looking for something to do earlier. Every year is a little different, but we always have collaborated and worked hard at it.
Bob, how much do the stipends that kids get now, how much does that eliminate some of the proximity issues that maybe you faced in the past, or does it?
It still, it helps. I don't think there's any question, and it's brought up in our recruiting visits with the prospects too, that, here are the cost of living increases, and here's what, the stipends that the guys get monthly. And, here's what a plane ticket may be when 3 months ahead of time when you're going home for spring break. You can get a reasonable price. So it matters. I think. I don't think there's any question it matters, And I think another thing, too, with the early, I think there's more and more guys wanting to do something earlier. And that kind of changes year to year.
With that, with all the early commitments and with the rash of decommitments we saw in January, is there more of an emphasis on staying on the guys you have committed than in the past?
You mean more than before?
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying it's hard to be more than before. There's always an emphasis on it.
Yeah.
I mean, decommitments didn't start last year. No. There may be more of them, but so any year you're constantly working it,
Well, it certainly looks like Kendall will have to be your backup quarterback. Are you fairly comfortable with that? You think it's going to...
Well, not yet. We haven't seen him on the field, but I believe we'll be fairly comfortable with it by the end of two-a-days or not even two-a-days, summer sessions, and he's a talented guy, and I just watching him out there run around with our players, he fits in. He doesn't look behind at all physically. So we just have to get time on the field with him,
Is it a help that he got here early?
Oh, yeah.
Particularly this season, since he looks like he might.
Yeah, definitely. this is a big time. And, they've already been over there working once or twice a day, either routes on air or going through their passing schemes and reads. So he's already experiencing our offense, and we haven't even had a chance to coach him on it yet. So, anyway, I'm sure I know Baker's done a great job mentoring him and coaching him and getting them started, but now we'll have the chance to make a big jump out here, in the spring with Lincoln getting with them and spending more time with them.
Is there a chance Cody comes back in the fall, or is that ship sailed?
I don't know. I guess there's always a chance, so I don't, that isn't something that's being discussed, but you never know where, things are at with him at that time. And I would say this, we'd always welcome him back just because we love the guy. He's been a great player for us, a great team guy, and, and a talented guy. So we'll just see. But that isn't something that we're planning on.
You weren't able to talk about Caleb Kelly during signing day, but just your thoughts on Caleb.
Caleb, we're fired up about it. What a big, athletic linebacker, can really run, plays hard, very intelligent, young man in everything that he does school-wise and on the field. So, we'll get him ready to play. We believe he has a chance to be a special player.
Kind of back to Austin Kendall. What does it show about him that he didn't waver at all in recruiting, even though you bring in someone like Kyler Murray? Does it show that, just with your interactions with him, does he seem like a confident guy?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think there's any question. He has great confidence and sure of himself, what he's able to do. Like I said, I love it watching him out there right now. He fits in like he's been here for 3 years, and not a lot of freshmen come in that way. So. Yeah, I think it tells a lot about his character and what he, and confidence for sure.
Did you have to call and reassure him about anything?
Well, you always do in that position, Really same with kind of a running back position when there's only one or two of them. That your numbers can be sensitive there, and so you always want to keep them informed.
You had a lot of, practice of having successful quarterbacks come back. Heisman Trophy winners, things of that nature. Baker got a lot of attention last year. When you talk to those guys about spring, do you ever emphasize about how it's important to keep pushing to get better, or is that just something they naturally have?
We're constantly preaching it, but usually the great ones have it. Naturally have that will to improve on everything they're doing. But we're pushing every one of them. It isn't like. Sam Bradford came back and we're like, hey, just coast it out in the spring and we'll get started in the summer. We're constantly driving them and pushing them.
Any guys that redshirted last year that you're excited to see on the field this year for you?
Yeah, let me let's see here. Bobby Evans, a guy I think can really help. Giancarlo Valentine also, when he gets here, just the power and strength he has, and Cody Ford. Cody is a guy that had a really big winter, watching him run around out there. I already said Jordan Smallwood, even though he was a sophomore. Ricky DeBerry. Q Overton, even though he wasn't redshirted. Two big guys that were redshirted, Devontae Lampkin and Neville Gallimore, are guys I think are going to really have a chance to be special. Big, very physical, strong players. So.
How difficult was last year for Devontae? Because, he was a guy that came in, hadn't been working out all summer.
Yeah, that was tough for a big guy when he hadn't, wasn't cleared until we started two-a-days, and then he's not in the shape you want them to be in, and or he wants to be in, and it's easy to say, well, just stay in shape. Bigger guys have a harder time, so it took them a while to catch up. But I'll say, so it was tough for him because we were hoping to have him here in the summer and have him ready to play. But he's done a great job. He and Neville both through the fall of really getting with Smitty and working themselves into great shape and getting themselves in a position to really make an impact. They're bigger guys, 330, 335, but really carry it well. And, and I believe we're in a position now to make an impact.
You pleased with the way the whole stadium stuff's coming along?
Yeah, I meant to say that in my opening comments too, just how positive, how quickly it looks like they're, putting the erector set up, sort of. But we're excited about it. It looks great. It's fun just to see this east side already, bowled in, and they're saying the west side area should be at least the seats not ready to sit in, but it'll be in, so it should be bowled in even by the spring game. Where you could see somewhat of what it's going to look like. So anyway, very exciting, and I guess Kenny's back there, but the ticket sales for the suites are ahead of schedule. We're selling them, faster than they thought they would, and so that part of it's all positive.
Coach, when you're bringing in guys in January for visits, does it help your staff at all to have a top 5 basketball team down the street to show them that atmosphere?
Definitely, and congrats to our basketball team in the year they've had and are still having, and they've been fun to watch and great crowds, and it is great to bring. I know we had, 10, 12, offer guys in for, not only the Kansas game, but several games, so we've, it's been very exciting.
You mentioned guys that maybe had to sit out last year. What about a guy like DJ Ward, who basically missed 2 years of playing high school in his first year here, played for you last year? What do you expect to see out of him this week? Yeah, DJ's doing well. Played well for us a year ago, so he'll have a bigger role in this coming year. But really excited about DJ, and he looks stronger already. Here before spring, and he's a very conscientious guy on the field. So I see him only making improvement. So we'll see. Another guy that has a chance, he just needs to be more reliable, is Austin Roberts. Is a guy that has a lot of potential there that we're hoping, can have a big spring and summer and give us more snaps this coming year.
With your freshman offensive tackles, is it really, they've gotten tons of experience now, Drew in Orlando, but is their next big jump really just the physical part of it, getting bigger, stronger? Yeah,
everyone's though. Guys at this age, even juniors, they're, as you age, you naturally get, stronger and more physical. Usually, if you're doing your job. So all of the, but definitely from freshman year, first year to second year, you make a big jump. So those guys hopefully will, and I believe everybody will. All right.